Kipsters, welcome to another writing lesson. Last week, we learned about our first writing prompt that we're going to write about, which is using our five senses in a special home. We also learned about our writing phases and how we're starting in the planning phase. So in a moment, we'll learn what our writing thinking job is. But first, I need your help, and I need you to imagine, paint a picture in your head. I need to paint this room. Right now it's white. I need your help, and your teacher's going to pause the video and ask you guys to imagine what color I could paint my room. So you're going to think of some different colors, and then your class is going to decide on one color. Okay, go ahead. Wow, you guys came up with a lot of colors. So we just thought of many different colors for my room, and then you were able to choose one. This is an example of brainstorming. Writers brainstorm. Today, we will learn how to brainstorm so we can become better writers. So we painted a picture in our mind, which is called brainstorming. Brainstorming helps writers plan a writing task, which is what we're doing right now. We're planning a writing task. It lets writers explore their ideas and choose the best ones to include in their writing. Writers often brainstorm details from their own life to include in their writing. So I asked you to think of a color that I could paint my room. So thanks for helping brainstorm a color I could paint my room. Today, we'll practice brainstorming for our task 1 of using our five senses in a special home. So before we can dive into that, we need to find out what our writing thinking job is. Today, we're brainstorming, and when you leave writing, you're going to be able to recall sensory details about a past experience by brainstorming. Thumbs up and repeat after me. I can recall sensory details about a past experience by brainstorming. So sensory details are just that. They're your five senses. It's just a fancy way of saying five senses. So you're going to use your five senses and think about a special home and brainstorm in this planning phase. So you're going to be drawing ideas to show how you used your five senses on your visit to a special home. Today, you are going to be using your lined paper, a pencil, and/or crayons. Your teacher will give you that direction when they pause the video and have you get the materials. They might want you just to use a pencil, they might want you to just use crayons, or they might want you to use both. Your teacher will pause the video and give you the opportunity to get those materials. You're also going to be submitting your exit ticket on Seesaw. Remember, in kindergarten, we're going to do all kinds of writing. Right now, we're focusing on telling stories by doing narrative writing. Good writers. Good writers think, tell, write, and draw. Repeat after me. Good writers think, tell, write, and draw. So today, we're living in this thinking space. Here is our writing phases. We are in the plan phase. We are going to be planning today. Here are our thinking steps to get to our thinking job of using our sensory details to help us brainstorm. First, we're going to decide what to think about. We're going to decide what to think about. Step 2, we're going to decide how. Are we going to make a list? Are we going to draw? And then step 3, we're going to write or draw our ideas. So for step 1, for this writing task, we're going to describe how we used our five senses when we visited a special home. So let's think. First, I need to think about what will I write about? Where is that special home? What is the place that I want to write about? I will think about how I used each sense at my grandma's house. So this special place could be your grandma's house, your friend's house, your aunt's house, your uncle's house, a special person's house that you have gone to and you used your five senses. So I am going to decide to write about my grandma's house. So I wrote the word grandma, I did my best, and I drew a little picture to help me remind me that I am writing about my grandma's house. So I've done step 1 because I've thought about what to think about. I need to think about my grandma's house. I also have made a list of, I'm going to use my 5 senses. I'm going to use my 5 senses to help me brainstorm. So there's different ways to brainstorm. Drawing can be helpful when you want to remember details from a past experience. For me, it's easier to remember experience in pictures than in words. So I'm going to draw my ideas in this chart connected to my 5 senses. Step 3, write or draw my ideas. Now I will think of all of the ideas I can use for how I used my 5 senses. I will draw each idea next to the sense it tells about. An idea might go with more or one of the sense, and that's okay. All right, let's see. I'm gonna close my eyes and think of my grandma's house. I remember my grandma made me some soup. I saw my grandma pour a can of soup into a pot. I heard her talk to me as she cooked. So in my C row, I'm going to draw a pot of soup and my grandma because she was making the soup. Then I'm going to draw my grandma talking because I heard her while she was cooking, she was talking to me. Then I smelled the soup as it got warm. So I'm going to draw a bowl of soup because I smelled it. Then I held my spoon in my hand and I was touching the soup, as well as when the soup was ready, I was able to taste it. So under taste, I'm going to draw a bowl of soup, and then under touch, because I touched the spoon to get to the soup, that helps me remember that I touched the spoon. Wow. I could also draw the bowl of soup in touch too, because I touched the soup with my tongue. However, I think the soup under taste helps me better understand my sense of taste because I can eat soup. Wow. I was able to go through all of my steps and help me brainstorm what my rating is going to look like. Now I want you to take a moment and think of your special home. Before we can decide how we used our senses, you need to decide what your special home is going to be. Is it going to be your grandparents' house? Is it going to be a friend's house, an aunt's house, an uncle's house? Your teacher's going to pause the video and ask you to think about your special home and draw that on your lined paper. If your teacher has not had you get your materials, this will be the time for you to get your materials too. You'll be using your lined paper with a pencil and or a crayon. Think of your special home. Wow, I'm sure you guys all came up with a great special home, which will be super helpful when you go to your exit ticket today. Remember, your writing prompt is going to be draw and label 1-page story showing what you saw, heard, touched, smelled, or taste on a visit to your special home, using your details for your own life. But right now, we're still planning, and you're going to brainstorm today. So in Seesaw, you have 2 pages. On those 2 pages, you're going to first write out your special place. There's also going to be a box here where you can draw what your special place looks like. When you write it, do the best you can. You're then in each box going to draw a picture of what you saw at that special, what you see at that special home, hear at that special home, smell at that special home, taste at that special home, and touch at that special home. I know I gave an example of my grandma's house, and your teacher might have given you an example too. Remember, this is about your special home, so use your own brain, your own words, and your own drawings. Super excited to look at your brainstorming. Don't forget to click the green check when you're all done with all that hard work. All right, Kipsters, until next time, happy brainstorming.